951. What happened that was exciting? The Germans grabbed Flanders. The Scots now rule all of Britain. I think that had happened already, but they can't do much with it. They're finding themselves left with a pile of cards. They attempted to attack Brittany, and that didn't work and ran themselves out of money. They really have to get the social states up in the English areas, but this may not be quite the time to do it, which we'll get to in a moment. So not much happened with that magnate until the French turn, and the French drew a Leader Dies Heirless card. Whoop, 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 whoop. Lost claim to all the territories they used to have, and really were only holding Normandy, Champagne, Valencia, and Toulouse. Everything else went. Most importantly, that means the Viking territories. This is the beginning of a period when the Vikings are active, so we're going to see Viking raiders for the first time in the game. Generally, they manage to sneak out before this. They're only going to be 5 rated. Their top period at 25 years at a 9 rating or something. No, 50 years at 9 ratings, different periods, is gone, but we are in sort of the end of the Viking raids period. So they'll be able to do some damage and maybe conquer some territories. After the French had that problem, their new leader wasn't terribly good at anything. Did some diplomacy and then marched in against the magnate using his weapon advance, which is a +3 in combat, to take Anjou back. Well, not really back for the first time. Let's see what else. Poles, I think they shifted leaders around a little bit. Not really, no, that's the same. But they settled to doing some diplomacy. They grabbed claims to their territories. I think they have claim to everything now. Now the goal is to get Bohemia back. Byzantines, of course, didn't do anything except collect up piles and piles of money. That's what they're best at, and at some point or another they might want to tap that money, but for the most part it just keeps everybody from ever harassing them. All right. 956. Things have definitely calmed down since the fury of the French and German and Burgundian combined war. The Saracens largely pinned the magnate by making him use all his cards in defense. Likewise, the Vikings came down and did the same kind of action, really hitting his territories. So they haven't had the effect on the players that would justify defending yourself against them, and nobody did. Other than that, pretty much everybody's kind of in a state of not getting anywhere. The Poles added Bohemia, and the Byzantines are worried about converting Bulgaria. But really it's a matter of only the people with money can do anything. The Germans have a little bit of money, but they don't have any great goals. Leadership-wise, we have a really good general arose in the Byzantines, and we had a slight reduction over here on the Poles. Big question for the Brittany, the Aquitaine player, is whether or not he's ever got a chance. He may want to just throw it in at some point soon. There might be better opportunities available, but he can't just turn around and grab them on a dime. That's one of my kind of roles. It's not really formalized. 961, not much movement. Still seeing the magnate in Aragon alive and being harassed so much by the Saracens that he's not getting anywhere. The Vikings actually did some damage. They conquered Flanders, but the Germans took it back. Actually, I think it was neutral and they conquered it from the neutrals, but whatever. Poland seeing them gaining claims to everything. They took Kiev and got a claim to it. And the Byzantines converted Bulgaria finally. Bulgaria. They're up to 25 victory points in conversions. Now that's the equivalent of holding what, like 6 level 0 areas, or 3 areas with 3 claims. So that's a big boost for them. They get to keep that no matter what. Even if they get wiped out of the game, they still have that as part of their legacy. The Poles have 5 points for their 1 conversion. They're looking forward to another one, but they haven't really been able to push it yet. 966, and I've got some interesting decisions to make. Let's see what happened in terms of major events. Okay. That Bagnate was destroyed. That's kind of big. That's what causes these major thoughts, because now there's space for another player to show up in Aragon and Aquitaine. It can't be one of the current players. He can't just grab that. There's another person willing to take it. But the other person is going to have choices between that and the other big event, which was the Poles ended up converting all of the Eastern Slavics. So now there's 3 territories over there which someone could take. The question is, which one's the better choice? If the better choice turns out to be the Russian territories, then, and that's kind of risky. I mean, Poland's a pretty potent country. They can probably knock you out. Then the Count of Aquitaine probably doesn't want to withdraw. And I don't really like the idea of him withdrawing just to get the same stuff back as someone else. That feels kind of funky. But if someone goes in there, I feel like he has a reasonable right to withdraw. I don't think he can, as long as he holds Brittany, though. So it's not really that big a decision. The big decision is where somebody's going to show up. Are they going to show up in Aragon and Aquitaine, or are they going to show up over in Muscovy? And I don't know the answer yet. Big question. All right, that's about it. So I just wanted to capture this moment because we got, 10 different sets of cards out, I believe. The 7 players, because Muscovy was the decision of the remaining player to become. And we've already discussed that, but there are definitely questions in that. The Saracens, the Vikings, and a Magnate over in Saxony. Now, my guess is the Vikings and the Magnate are going to pretty much cancel each other out. That's what we saw before when there was a Magnate. Saracens are going to wipe out Aragon, and that's about it. But I just wanted to capture this just because of the amount of decks of plays that have to be done. So every one of them gets five cards to play. All right, so here we are at 971, and that fizzled more than one would think. Actually, the Vikings couldn't attack the Saxons. They were too strong, but the Saxons ended up dying on a card or two trying to hit Lorraine. Main events. What happened? Well, mostly everyone just tried to recover their territory. We did see some interesting things. For example, that powerful French administrator is very good and was able to get his economic values high enough. Normandy is strong enough that the Vikings couldn't deal with it, so they attacked Flanders again and tried to raid Champagne. And then the Germans came back and took Flanders. The Germans did a little bit of ruling, got Franconia. Scots did nothing of value. Polish definitely ruled. They also got a year of famine, which undid that. They had to go early in the turn because of their new Muscovite neighbors. The Muscovites also did some ruling and got their court value up. The Byzantines had a leader dies heirless, and literally every single territory in their kingdom was in unrest, and they lost Georgia. However, after a very temporary period of instability where they had a horrible leader, they've got a pretty damn good one now, who should be able to not only recover that area, but maybe go on and, if he survives, convert something like Wallachia to Eastern Orthodoxy as well. So I would say that the overall position is pretty much where it was before. Normally I would cut it right here. In terms of this is the end of a turn, I'm probably going to keep going because I'm trying to recover my old disk so that I can boot off of it. I could read from it, but I can't run off of it, which blows. So this might go a little longer. Hopefully not 2 full turns though.